gymnastics. As far as the wrestling did, what I did was I intimidated a lot of people because I didn't give a fuck.
Big gold and a billfold, so swole that I can't get the shit closed. So I money.
When the boss calls, you know how it goes.
Just how you taught him, Rip. 12 minutes late. I mean, he's been our only guest that's ever been late on this show.
Yeah,
and it doesn't surprise me at all that it would be Jerry, Bam Bam, Traxx, Penders. Yeah.
Well, goddamn, like I haven't gotten one of them contracts yet. I still got to work for the man, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you still text, say, "Hey, man, I'm late."
Text, hey, fucking something's coming.
Hey, I'm late, man. We could have got something in 10 minutes. We could have done 5 photos. Hey, we're recording, by the way. So the audience is going to see the first 10 minutes of me and Rip just talking shit about you being late. Yeah. That's how this whole interview is going to start.
Oh, that's great.
And then we put in there too, hey, do not book this guy if you want somebody that's going to show up on time and work hard and be at your event and all that. We threw you under the bus for the first 10 minutes, but I'm sure the rest of this is going to be awesome, man.
Hell yeah, man.
This will be the best fucking interview with Traxx we've had yet.
Traxx, baby. So this is can we say your name on this show or what? Are you just
call me whatever you want now? Or you call me whatever you want.
You fucking trained Traxx.
You've called me a lot worse.
Don't forget we have a microphone. So this is interview number 13, Rip.
13.
Jerry Bam Bam Penders, aka Traxx, Traxx, formerly known as what was that? 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 or something. What was your name?
𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 sounds about right. Jewish American star.
Yeah, now you're Traxx. How did you go from a like a pussy Jewish American star to a tough guy? How'd that happen? You just shave your head and then you're tough all of a sudden, or what? How's that work?
Pretty much. You just flip a switch, and all of a sudden, right? You go from a Jew fro to a bald Walmart looking Stone Cold Steve Austin, and now all of a sudden you look tough. So now you got to act the part, right?
Now he's over.
He's over, baby.
Yeah, he's fucking Traxx is everywhere. He's up there in Alaska hitting on some fucking Eskimos, getting some young Eskimo boys or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
He's married. He's a one-woman man, Rip. Hey, don't forget talking this microphone. Traxx is a one-woman man, Rip.
Well, you're a one-woman man too.
Well, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So welcome to the show, man. Glad you could finally get on here and make it. Where are you living at now?
I'm down in Philly.
You're back in Philly. You're in Philly. Your hometown. And now are you close to where you grew up? Do you live close to where you grew up?
Yeah, about 25 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
So it would not be in the same area as like your high school, really?
No, I'm not. No.
Like you don't walk around town. Everybody said, "Oh, hey, Jerry, I knew you from high school." You don't get into that much.
They said, "Oh,
not really." It's always big. I mean, listen, when you're from small town Indiana, that's usually how it might go down. But up here in the Northeast, everyone's so busy doing their own thing. They don't know me, man.
Everybody's just a fucking idiot.
So far, we've had multiple. Almost every person we've had on here is a former WWE superstar, and none of them have come across as cocky and late and arrogant in the first 5 minutes as this guy has. Hey, I don't know about
before. He was just fucking humble.
Killer Kross is on here like putting over Seymour and us and everything. He comes on and says, "I don't know about you guys," but like he's big time.
Well,
who in the hell have you ever beat? I mean, who is this? We ought to just stop this damn interview right now.
I think I've beaten you a few times.
Who the hell does he think he's talking to?
I remember we're at wrestling fucking Philadelphia. They're throwing snowballs at me as I'm trying to get into the fucking back door and stuff. Then the fucking cop starts picking, and he threw snowballs at me too. Fucking Philadelphia, what awesome. A fucking shithole.
What's the up on? So look, we are over. We got AEW gear on. We got Ryan Nemeth in his personal shirt, his personal movie. That's all I got to say, man. You know,
look good, guys. You guys look real good.
Thanks, man. Hey, now you're getting a little nicer. Now we can get this thing.
Get a black magic marker and scribble "won't be" and just put "outworked" on there.
Yeah,
you're fucking outworked, motherfucker.
Learn the
so I don't know if you've ever watched this show or watched any of our interviews, but we don't have a format. We don't write anything down. We don't research.
We don't give a fuck.
No idea where this is going to go. But
hell no.
In 40 minutes or less, whenever Zoom cuts us off, is when we are done. We got Johnny Jeter, the cheerleader, coming on next. So
of course he kayfabed us at first. Oh, I can't do it. I'm scheduled and I can't do it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Between you and him, we had the two. So If your ears are fucking stinging, they fucking ought to be. I've cussed you out so many fucking.
I'm gonna go to Killer Kross and Deonna Purrazzo, and I'm gonna tell him, Jerry Bam Bam Traxx Penders said he's too busy. You guys must not. Yeah. Anyway,
he's wearing his T-shirt that says "Outworked."
So I've known Jerry Bam Bam Traxx Penders for a long ass time. I like to ask a lot of questions on here, like firsts. So I know some of your firsts and all that kind of stuff. But you came right to OVW right out of high school. Is that correct?
Pretty much. I spent 1 year in college, but I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and so I used that freshman year to get really good grades and to transfer to either Louisville to go to OVW or to transfer to the University of Cincinnati to go to HWA.
You should have went to Cincinnati.
So I didn't realize. I thought you came right from high school. So you were there somewhere first for your
1 year. So I was 19 when I got down to OVW in like August of 2002. I was 19 years old. Yep.
So what made you to pick? What was your ultimate decision or selection? I guess what made you pick OVW over?
I think it was just one of those deals where the buzz for OVW was bigger at the time.
Was Contract there at the time?
Huh?
Was WWE there at the time? They were both places. They were
like at the time you could sign up for the beginners class at HWA or OVW.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think OVW just had a little more buzz at the time, and obviously they had the bigger stars there at the time. So I think that's probably why I just decided to go there. Honestly, so that's
now you kayfabe this. You did not tell your parents that you were
correct.
Going.
Yep.
You just went to Louisville.
I told them.
You told them you wanted to go to U of L.
Yeah, exactly. I told them the University of Louisville had a great communications program, which they did. I wanted to do broadcast journalism. If the wrestling thing didn't work out, so I was in a private, like small college up outside Pittsburgh, like far though, like 2 hours from Pittsburgh. So, it was out in the middle of nowhere. So it just kind of, the story kind of made sense to get down to Louisville and live out do two things, right? Go to college, get a degree just in case something doesn't work out, have something to fall back on. And then obviously try to make it as a pro wrestler. And
you did get a degree there, right?
I did.
How long did you go without telling your parents that you were in OVW?
It was probably about like a year and a half, maybe. I think awesome. One time I came home on a break, like Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I had a black eye because somebody cracked me at training one day.
Probably me.
And I actually just had to tell my parents, like, yeah, I got in a college bar fight, one of those things. And they were, I got the runaround for that. You shouldn't be fighting, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. But,
so you told him that. So what made you actually tell him you were in wrestling then? I thought that would be the reason, no?
No, I think I just, I think I grew up and got a set of balls and just decided to tell them. My parents just were never big on wrestling. They hated wrestling. I remember I would watch wrestling when I was a kid and like on TV. And I asked them, can I get this WrestleMania? It was WrestleMania 6. And they said no. And I'm like, well, if I can't watch the pay-per-view, if I didn't watch this WrestleMania, I'm not going to be watching wrestling anymore. So I actually stopped for the longest time until like right before high school is when I got back into an Attitude Era. So yeah, I think it was just natural. I think I was young at the time. I was 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid. Finally got to the point. I was like, all right, I got to say something.
Did they ever come watch you in Louisville?
They did, yeah. In 2005, like I wrestled Vic Delicious and in Louisville, and they were in town, so they actually came and watched. They thought it was awesome. Actually,
man, surely I wasn't there. I would have been introduced. Surely I would have been introduced.
I don't think you were there, bro.
Surely not. Surely you would.
Of course, you would have been introduced. I would have been like, "This is Clint. He's my chauffeur."
Yeah, we'll get to that here. We'll get to that here in a minute. You still owe me a lot of money. You got into the Nick Dinsmore Eugene's class first, right? That was your first training.
Yeah.
Do you remember your So that was at the old building in Jeffersonville. So that was at the original Davis Arena. I don't know if it's the original. It was the one on Mechanic Street there in Jeffersonville before they moved to Louisville with the big rings. This is a small ring, small building. Nick Dinsmore was the teacher. Do you remember your first day walking in? Take us through your very first day walking in. Actually, let me back up. Did you contact him on the phone first before you got there, or did you just show up?
Yeah. So like it was pretty cool how this kind of went down, right? You know, that time period right before you're gonna get into the wrestling business to me it was very memorable. I don't know if it's like that way with everybody else, but I had called OVW. I left a voicemail. Hi, you know, my name, interested in starting this summer, towards the end of the summer. Didn't hear back for whatever, a couple days.
Probably Rip. You probably left a message at Rip. He didn't call people back.
It was a voicemail, but so literally that I called this upcoming weekend. My buddies and we did the old WWE house show loop. They were around Philly and Jersey and Poconos area, and so we actually like did like 2 house shows, Raw and SmackDown, all in a loop. Had a great time.
Like you went as a fan, you mean?
I went as a fan, right?
Yeah,
so like
okay.
I said, I haven't even stepped foot in a ring yet.
Yeah.
But on the last day on SmackDown, I got to see some OVW guys, developmental guys,
cool.
have dark matches, and 2 of them right there was Conway versus Dinsmore.
Oh wow.
So naturally, I was marking out a little bit because obviously I hadn't started there, but I knew I wanted to get there at some point. So I got excited. So I got excited for that match. Watched that was in Atlantic City, New Jersey for SmackDown. Literally, that was on a Tuesday. Wednesday afternoon, I get a phone call from Nick Dinsmore. Literally, 24 hours after I just watched him wrestle. Less than 24 hours after I just watched him wrestle. I was like on cloud 9. Like, holy crap. You know, soon to be WWE wrestler just called me and, you know, told me to, you know, he said, yeah, come by, you know, whenever you get in town, just stop in and you know, we'll get you going from there. So, yeah, so it was pretty cool seeing a guy that I just watched WWE call me the next day.
Yeah, that's a good story, man. That's awesome. So you show up. I remember my first day walking in. Actually, before I walked in, I don't know if he was there when you got there, but do you remember the big Indian dude that had like a mohawk and tattoos all over his head? I don't know if he was there still when you were there. He was the first person I saw outside the door. Nick wasn't there yet. And I was there like an hour early, and this guy was doing like free squats outside the door and had some like headphones on or something. And I was kind of like sitting in my car going, man, what am I getting myself into here? So that was my first person I saw, kind of my first impression before I even entered the building. Do you remember like who you met or who was there, what you thought when you walked in? Because that thing was, let's be honest, Rip, it was kind of a dump there, right? You know, especially when you think of like WWE training facility and all that kind of stuff. Who'd you meet? Who'd you see? What was your impressions when you first arrived in Jeffersonville?
The big thing that I distinctly remember was walking in, you know, saying hello. I found Nick right away, and he just looked at me and he goes, "Damn, you look like Terry Bam Bam Gordy." And that's how that's how the wrestling name started, just right from there. You know, I don't remember a whole lot from that first day just because, man, you're talking about all kinds of emotions, right? You step foot in the ring, you know, you're feeling everything. You touch the ropes, and it's just one of those, wow, like, can't believe I'm doing this. And I think on that first day, we learned how to take a bump. You know, just holding on to the middle rope and falling back. And I remember just like, you know, okay, that wasn't too bad. Let's keep going, right?
Yeah.
And you know, it's just like natural, like it felt like it came a little natural, but it also, there was the pain involved that I was like, okay, I think I can handle this. I played football, you know, my whole life. So I was used to, I knew what some kind of pain felt like. Yeah. So, and the way the coaching was, right, tougher and just very direct and forward, and you know, they're not gonna pump you up and make you feel great. It's going to be all constructive. Mentally, I knew I could handle that. So, yeah, like I just remember it being like old school football days, hot, tired, sweating, breathing heavy, but you're getting good, solid work in. That's what I remember the most about that old building.
Yeah, it's funny. We just recorded our show, and we just talked about the Freebirds and Terry Gordy. And I'd said that on our show. I remember when you came in and Nick had given you that nickname or whatever, because you had the big hair, you had the big afro and everything, and put together kind of like him. So that's pretty funny. Do you remember if I know we were there right away early on. I just can't remember. Surely I was there probably your first day, I would think.
You might have been. Yeah, you probably were.
But Rip, so here he is coming in, living in Louisville, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, when I picked you up, though, I don't think you weren't living on camp. You were living with wrestlers, though, weren't you, or something?
No. I was living in the college fraternity house, right off campus.
When I picked you up?
Yeah, that where you dropped me off more or less. Yeah, you would give me a ride. Or no, wait.
I would pick you up a lot of days before practice and take you home.
Yep.
How did that ever happen? I used to drive him. Here he is, a college kid. I'm coming from Seymour, I think, or Muncie. No, I was coming from Muncie. I was driving that time 3 hours, and I would go to Louisville and pick your ass up, or to Louisville and take you home.
You would drive about 10 minutes past.
I'm already driving 3 hours. I drive an extra 20 minutes for.
You were driving an extra 20 minutes to help a dear good friend.
Well, I didn't even know you. How did we?
No, you knew. Dude, you knew me.
I mean, in the very beginning, I don't even know how that all happened. How did you get to practice before me?
I just got rides. I didn't have a car my first year. I think I was in Louisville, so just had to work and put together some cash to get a car. No, I think, dude, I think you were, listen, you were the mentor of a lot of us younger guys. You were already established. You were already, you were a teacher. You'd been in OVW. You were doing some cool things.
I was old,
and I actually think, as much shit as you talk, I think you actually like being a leader, and because that's how I looked at it. Was, man, this guy's really going out of his way. He's a leader of this group here, and that's kind of how I took it, man.
Yeah, maybe I'm just nice,
I think you used to be nice. I think those days got long gone.
No, it's all an act. It's just like Rip, man. People think Rip's an asshole, but deep down inside, Rip's one of the nicest guys out there. That's just the way it is. I just
really?
Yeah. I just portray being an asshole. I would still do anything for you, man. So
man, dude, you were honestly like one of my best friends down there. Seriously, yeah, man. Like, had so much fun with you. Lots of great stories and lots of great times. So
we had some good times for sure. My parents always really liked you. I know Bam Bam was always one of my mom's favorites. That's for sure.
She just liked the name.
She liked the name Bam Bam. Yeah, that or the hair.
I had the cute locks back in the day.
I remember Nick said this kid's gonna be a star. I remember he told me that one day. I always said, all these rides I'm giving, maybe that's why I did it. Maybe I did it for payback down the road. I remember saying, when you're famous, man, you better not forget me when you're famous. You better not forget.
Yeah, well, looks like that didn't happen. So,
hey, you still got time.
I still didn't forget you, though.
And we'll get to that in a minute. You still got time. Do you remember your first match?
I do. It was in that building, in the old Davis Arena. It was me and Big Glenn White.
I remember Glenn.
We were the baby faces versus the heel Hitman Chris Cage.
Oh wow.
And CPA.
Oh, the CPA always wore the hat backwards.
He wore the hat backwards. He was, Shawn Michaels' students.
Yep.
And great, just a good in-ring wrestler, good person, great guy to have a first match with, honestly.
Any idea what happened to him?
Guys, huh?
Any idea what happened to CPA? You ever talk to him?
Yeah, he's on Facebook, man.
Is he?
He goes by Jimmy Dunn. That's his name. Yeah, he's on there. He's living out in Washington still, and he's out there. Yep.
He used to ride with us a lot of times. We'd go to the shows, from the
Good
amateur
guy.
class. He'd get in the car a lot with us at
Good
times.
guy. Great. People tell their story about how shitty their first match was. I can't say that.
Well, Chris
You know,
Cage
we
is
did a
pretty
tag
good too.
match, so I took the heat. Big Glenn rocked the big comeback. Baby faces up. Like everything went smooth. We were all trained enough, and obviously Hitman and CPA had the experience back then over us. So, you know, great.
Do you remember anybody
match.
Do you remember anybody that came in with you, like class-wise, like your class, like your first day? Was there anybody that you remember, or did they stay? My first day, there were 6 people that came in, and I was the only one that came back the next week.
Yeah, I don't think anybody the day I was there made it. But in that short period, right, you had like Mike Taylor, like a lot of us came in right around the same time when we all eventually got moved up to Rip's class. But we all kind of came in within the same like month or two at the most. It was like me and Mac Johnson and Mike Taylor, Seth Skyfire, and Glenn, Big Glenn.
Yep.
So yeah, I just remember my big thing that I always remember about people coming into that beginners class was they moved however far they moved from wherever they're from to Louisville, much like I did, and put down their deposit on their apartment first and last month, pay the $500 fee to start training, and then literally
never came back.
Never come back the next week.
Yeah.
That's just, to me, like that was never an option. And like I just remember thinking, like, you know what? I think if you can just outlast, right? If you can just hold the time, stand the test of time doing this, sooner or later it can all start clicking and coming together. I just never will forget the number of people that just came and went.
Man. That's why I said I remember there was 6 my first day. There was 6.
Right.
I was the only one that came back.
Local. They weren't just dudes who dropped $500 who were driving in an hour. You know, they were uprooting their lives, and then literally in a week, they 2 weeks, you know, they decided it wasn't for them, and you know, teach their own. You know?
But let's talk about going to the Rips class then. Moving into the new building. I'm terrible at years. I don't remember any years. How long? I mean, we weren't at that old building very long. Went to the new building. Give us some impressions on Rip getting moved in. How did that all come about when you got into the next class? Did somebody ask you? Did they tell you were ready? Walk us through that a little bit.
Man, I think it was just something like, actually, no, it's fine. Now I remember. So, I went home for like just for like a week after college just ended, just to, you know, because I was going to spend the summer in Louisville training in the amateur class still. And so I went home for like 2 weeks, see family and stuff, friends. And Nick called me and said that me and a few other guys are getting bumped up to the advanced class. This was in basically like end of May or something, beginning of June of 2003. So I would have been in that amateur class about maybe 8-9 months, something like that. Which, you know, I can look back now and go, holy shit, like maybe I probably wasn't all the way ready. You know, being 8-9 months in and getting thrust into a developmental contract class, the advancedness there. But, you know, I recently talked to Nick about it, you know, because I saw him a few months ago at a show. And, you know, it was one of those, you know, I wasn't maybe quite ready, but I worked my ass off. I did what I was told. I was coachable. I listened, and I never really made the same mistakes again. So I guess that was enough of a reason to bump me up. And listen, you know, you need guys like me back then to work with the Nathan Joneses of the world too, to, you know, talk about a flashback memory there.
Were you there that day that Timberwolf broke his neck?
You know what? I might have been. So that's the thing. Sometimes.
Oh, wait. This would have been at the old building when him and Matt Morgan were getting called up to be a tag team on a pay-per-view. And they came in to practice a bunch of double team moves. This was at the old building. And they did a double like Beal on Timberwolf, and he came right down on his head and just like turned purple. You weren't there you would remember if you were there that day.
I probably wasn't there then.
Yeah,
no.
you would.
I mean, I don't know, man. Sometimes I forget some of the things that's like.
That's hard to forget, man. But
no, for sure.
So you got into the advanced class. I was in that class. I remember, yeah, it was wild. I remember my first day going there. I was like, holy shit. I didn't feel real comfortable going in there, but it's the same deal, man. You either got to do it at some point in time or not. What was your impressions when you met Rip over here?
Oh man. Rip. God, so much to say. Not enough time. Rip. First of all, I knew about the training. I got to talk to Rip here and there at TVs and stuff like that. Obviously a little intimidated, being younger, not being fully developed as a man yet. So Rip definitely, when he spoke, I listened, and Rip always reminded me of the football coach that he's going to be tough on you, no matter what. Some football coaches will hold your hand. They're the nice guy, but then there's the other ones that are just going to kick your ass and not stop. And they're going to be relentless until you get it right. And they want to see if you're going to rise up to that and fix it and get better, or if you're going to, have a boo-boo face and sulk and then ultimately wash out of this business. And so definitely the intimidation of Rip's training style made me focus more, made me want to and strive to be better, be a better wrestler, be a better performer. So that was my first impressions of getting to know Rip. I tried not to talk,
It's tough for you, man.
What's that?
I said, that's tough for you.
Listen, it was tough. Eyes open, right? Ears open, mouth shut. That was day one, and still to this day. So,
did you ever get,
when it comes to learning,
did you ever get kicked out of the ring by Rip? Did you ever get the ding, get the fuck out? Did you ever get that? I did several times.
Man, I probably had to. I think everyone did at one point or another. So I wish I can say I remember, yes or no, but I'll assume yes.
I did 3 times in one day, I remember.
Rip, man, question. And you still stuck it out in this business?
Oh, sure. Rip, question for you.
Good for you, pal.
What did you think having the non-contract guys with the contract guys in the same class? Was there any thoughts to that? Did WWE frown on that? How did that even happen? Did you feel different with different contract, non-contract in there? Did you feel like you treated people different? Any?
Danny would just tell me these guys are in your class now. I didn't have nothing to do with it. And as far as I was always for the guys that didn't have a contract, because I wanted to see, these fucking assholes are getting paid to go to fucking class. No, give me the goddamn guys that's fucking moved a long way away. They ain't got no fucking money. They got 4 in a fucking apartment. They're having the fucking time of their fucking lives, and they barely got enough fucking food to eat, but they're fucking laughing, having a good attitude, and they're getting there fucking early. I always want the fucking underdog, and I'm always cheering for the fucking underdog, and I'm pushing and pushing and pushing. And a lot of guys over 70 got fucking jobs that weren't the guys that were the chosen ones, but they earned fucking jobs. And some of them, some of them was refs, some of them was stooges, some of them was fucking girl wrestler, guy wrestler, and with all different physiques. And they didn't ask me who was doing good. It's somebody saw them and they said, hey, we want this guy. Okay, I had nothing to do with it.
So you never said, oh God, why are these non-contract guys in here? They suck.
No, because a lot of times the non-contract guys were the guys you wanted because they tried more and they listened to you.
Yeah.
The other guys thought they were fucking over and had it fucking made. Well, they're the fucking cocksuckers. They're too fucking lazy, most of them. They might be a better athlete, but fuck. You get to the goddamn, you go to college, they were all state or whatever. Now it's fucking attitude. Who can fucking survive? Who works their fucking balls off? Who fucking listens?
I'm gonna start doing these tallies again. Yeah.
Oh, about my cousin? Okay.
It reminded me too of when you're saying that, how some guys maybe fought with you, Rip, or fought with Cornette because they were more or less biding their time, trying not to get injured, staying healthy, just trying to skate by the developmental, waiting for their call up.
Right.
And you guys wouldn't put up with that. You or Jim or Danny. Like, no, you're here to work. Like, I always admired that.
A guy, 8 o'clock, I shut the door. I locked the door. If you was on the outside, I wrote you up and sent it in if this guy was fucking late. He's probably at the fucking tit bar acting like he's fucking over. This other fucking person's driving 2 hours to fucking get here. Fuck your fucking prima donna.
God, I get a lot of tallies here.
That was me.
All right, we're under 10 minutes right now, so we got under 10 minutes left. So we gotta get a move on it. When did you end up leaving OVW? Was that when you got done, like with school? Let me back up just a little bit. Your time there, did you do some shows? Did you do some WWE shows? Were you ever in talks with getting a contract at that time? And then how did your time end at OVW?
Yeah, so had countless tryout matches, right, in front of Johnny Ace and whoever came down on those trips. Like I always was involved, right? I got to cut promos. I did everything, right, when we're in the contract class. So, you know what? Never had any talks. Always got, Dr. Tom would talk to me about stuff, but, never anything imminent with contract hiring. I wasn't ready. Physically, I wasn't ready. Mentally, I wasn't ready. I was young, hadn't quite grown into a man yet. And I specifically remember one time I'd been in that advanced class long enough, just doing mostly jobs, squashes, just helping get other guys over. Which, listen, I'm very grateful for that role. Because at the time, that's what was suited for me. I asked Jim Cornette one time. I said, Jim, what can I do to get more opportunity on TV? And he just looked at me straight up, honestly, and I always respect him for this. He said, Bam, he's like, you look like a little child compared to these guys. He's like, you truly have a baby face. Yeah. He's like, you look so young. Your physique, you're not muscular yet. So he's like, how can I push you against guys that just look like a man? And he was like, maybe try growing facial hair, maybe just, trying to get some wrinkles added to your face, get some sun. And just, he was like helpful with just little things to try and just look older, because he said like, the presentation was just very much kid. So I always respected him for that. So, cool. So listen, at that time, it just wasn't the right time for me. It's funny, a lot of us guys will get together, or we'll get to seeing each other's shows. Like I see Vic Delicious all the time now. I see Ken. I've run into Ken Doan a bunch lately. Guys who were super young back then, and we all kind of said the same thing. Like, man, if we were like 23, 24 instead of 19, 20. It could have been a lot different. Or if we were 26 at that time, right? You just, there's some people mature at different paces, it took me a little bit longer to grow into being the man that I am. Others do it quicker. So timing's everything in this business, as Rip always said. It's about the right time, the right place, who and who owes you a favor. So, none of those lined up for me when I was in OVW at the time. The Santino Marella incident happened with Boogeyman. Backstage, I was 10 feet away watching the whole thing. So after Jim left, I think they brought in like Paul for a little bit. And then I think like 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿 took over, and we basically were told, they're not using the non-contract guys at OVW TV anymore. And it was right around that time when we split off to, I guess, DCW. And you know what? It just was at that point where, it was like shit or get off the pot. I graduated college like 5 months earlier. What does every college kid want to do when they finish school? They want to start making some money. I was tired of being a broke ass college kid. And I exhausted every opportunity, right? I had opportunities. I cut promos in front of Johnny Ace. I had matches in front of Johnny Ace. So, it was, the writing was there. The timing wasn't right. So, So I gracefully walked away from OVW there. Did a little indies. Clint and I did some stuff like for a year or two after that.
By Clint, he means Von Lilas. That's who he's talking about. Right?
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, Von Lilas. Yeah. Von Lilas and I, we did some indie stuff together. The old IWWS in
Shadow, baby.
Indiana.
Bam came up to Muncie and was on a bunch of Shadow shows with it. Yeah. The gas chamber match in the steel cage when all the gas went out into the crowd.
Yep.
Greatest ever.
So, and then had a bad injury, tore up my ankle, broke it, had to get plate and screws put in. I did a show for old Marcus when he was running in West End, Louisville. And I think I had one more match after that, maybe with you, Clint. And then I left the business. Yeah. So, Von Lilas, that guy. I think I had one match with Von Lilas just as like it was a tag maybe or something. And that was like 2008, and I left the business for about 7 years. So
that's what I was going to ask. So 2008, and then you're out for about 7. So you're back, baby. Back is Traxx, Traxx. We got about 3.5 minutes. So we want to push and plug all we can in 3.5 minutes on what you're doing now, where you're going to be, how you got back in, whatever you want to say. We got about 3 minutes. Tell us about now. What's happening now with Traxx, baby?
Traxx is me. All grass, no brakes, full steam ahead. I'm a great guy. People genuinely tend to enjoy talking to me and stuff. And I'm not saying that as a cocky thing. It's just I'm a likable person. But there comes a point in time where I can get pushed to a level or where basically, the good guy has to do something bad, has to do a bad thing for the right reasons. And a lot of times, I'm a natural, like Austin-esque babyface, blue collar, get the crowd, get sympathy, get the crowd going, and then come back firing on all cylinders, rocking a comeback, fists of fury. I think that's been my kind of niche as I transitioned away from the chicken heel to being a brawling, tough, hard-nosed, badass babyface.
Hey, it makes me want to go watch a Traxx match, Rip.
Maybe.
Yeah, getting me fired up.
I'll get it over one day.
Getting me fired up, man. I'm being serious. So Traxx, have you been in any talks? I mean, you're not that old, and you're about 10 years younger than me. There's still. I mean, is WWE or AEW or Impact? Is that still on your radar? Is that still what you're looking for? Or
I would say right now, any of the lower level promotions, national promotions, NWA, Impact, MLW. That's definitely more on the radar right now. Right, WWE is not even looking at guys like me right now, so that's fine. That it just is what it is, right? We can't control it, so we just keep going.
Have you been reaching out to those other promotions? Are you getting your stuff out there? You got contacts? You getting your stuff?
I got something coming up at the end of the month.
Good deal.
Don't announce it yet. Nothing to announce, but I have an opportunity at one of the lower national promotion companies that I just listed. So
nice. That's awesome.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Take it from there. Don't want to put it out until I know
you're good, man.
So
hey, congrats on that. You can maybe keep me in the loop. You can maybe tell me, we're supposedly friends. You could let me know every once in a while what's going on in your life and those kind of things.
We're friends, but let me just say this. Is there nothing better than when a friend actually surprises another friend? Like when you see something, you go, damn, I'm so happy. You didn't even tell me, but man, I'm so glad I saw that. That's what I'm going for, man.
No, I don't think so.
What good is that if I spoil the surprise?
Yeah, I'd rather you keep me in the loop. We're about 30 seconds, man. Thanks for coming on, even though you were late. Sorry if we were a little mean in the beginning. At least me, I'm an asshole, but that's all right. Appreciate.
Hey, real quick, I'm just looking. That email came in awfully late from you.
You know what?
We're going to talk about.
Yours is like 55 or 56.
Yeah, big gold and a billfold, so swole that I can't get the shit closed. So I money fold and rubber band wrap, and when it pop, bitches sound like a hand clap.